friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie, and today I'm going to just it's a sit down video. I'm going to kind of go over how the Three Rivers Challenge went for us in January. I know we are well in our way in February. I just have not had a chance to film a video. My boys have been inside a lot and they are loud and crazy, and you wouldn't have been able to hear anything. And we've also been busy. My son's birthday, or our son's birthday, I should say, is on Sunday. Well, his party is on Sunday, and so I've been busy prepping for that. And so I just have not had a chance, but today is the day. So I kind of wanted to give you an overview of how it went. And honestly, it went the same as every other month. We just eat from our pantry, specifically in the winter months. We don't grocery shop anything that's not a need. We don't eat fresh produce or fresh fruit really, unless we can store something in our root cellar. And so this is really just how we eat on a normal basis. We eat from our pantry. In the winter, we eat the vegetables and fruits that I have preserved, whether that is by canning or by freezing. We eat meat from our freezer, and we eat from our pantry all the time. I know it might seem a little bit like out there and crazy that this is actually how we live, but it's just our life, especially now since we've moved onto our farm / homestead. We really just, that's how we eat, and then as soon as we start getting fresh produce, such as lettuce and, radishes, those kinds of things are some of the earliest crops that we harvest from our garden, then we start eating fresh produce again. And that's how my husband and I would have pretty much been raised as well, having come from a Mennonite background. Now, we do have a dairy cow, but she is dry right now. She is due to calve end of this month, beginning of March. And so for the last, about 2 months now, we have not had any sort of dairy products other than the cheese that I had aging in my root cellar, and butter that I have in our freezer. But other than that, we needed to purchase dairy. So for the month of January, we approximately spent $40 on dairy products. Now those kinds of products were milk, cream for my coffee, because I really need cream in my coffee, and sour cream. I don't believe I bought any cream cheese, just because I chose not to make anything that needed that. And at the beginning of February, we did run out of our homemade cheese that I had made for like cheddar. We still have lots of pepper jack, which is my husband's favorite. So I have purchased cheese, which is horrible. Honestly, now that we have had homemade cheese, store-bought, there's just no comparison. Like, homemade is just way better. I never ever would have believed that until I tried it myself. So we have bought dairy since then. So this is the life that we have created on our homestead, and I love it. I know there's lots of people that think that you need to have fresh produce, you need to eat fresh fruit, that sort of thing. You know what? You don't, because the pioneers, they ate what was in season. They preserved their meat using salt mostly, or drying. And they very rarely even had fruit in the winter. It was like a real treat to have any sort of canned fruit. So that is how we live. Now, we had bought 2 bushels of apples in November sometime, and we had stored them in our root cellar, and we just finished the last of those apples last week. So that was great to have at least fresh apples. We still have fresh carrots in our root cellar, stored in sawdust or shavings, using the method that Kate from Venison for Dinner uses. And we also have fresh carrots still in our garden, covered up with straw bales. This is one amazing way, specifically if you're in like a zone 5 to 6, to be able to store carrots outside and be able to dig up fresh carrots whenever you want fresh carrots in the winter. We also have, I think, 3 butternut squash left in our basement that are still, they're in excellent condition. Like, it's amazing how they've stored. We also have sweet potatoes, and we have like a lot of potatoes left. We've barely touched, like, it's like we've literally barely touched our potato stores. It's insane how many potatoes we still have, which is amazing to me. That's like food security, right? And that's a huge thing. You know, we are relying very little on grocery stores to meet any of our needs. Now, there is things obviously that we can't produce. We can't produce our own sugars. You know, a lot of the baking ingredients that I use for baking. And, you know, I'm not going to grow enough wheat to supply us with flour. But I did find, I just did a random Google search to see if there is any local grain or flour mills that we could be able to buy flour from, bulk flour. And I found one probably about 20-25 minutes away from us. They do organic rye flour, which I don't really mind if it's rye, but it's organic. And they also, I think, do spelt, if I'm correct. Anyway, and it's $40 for a 20 kg bag, which I think is a phenomenal price for being organic. I'm 100% for that. Anyway, so things that we rely on the grocery store for. Coffee. We do drink coffee. We're not like crazy coffee drinkers. You know, I drink 1 to 2 cups of coffee a day. My husband drinks 2 cups typically. We also like teas. I don't make all of my own teas. I do have a spearmint plant, and I do plan on trying more herbs to make teas and things from. But right now, we still rely on the store for teas. We also rely on the store for canned pineapple. I would love to be able to find a really good deal on fresh pineapple and can it myself, so I'm not relying on tin canned goods. There's very little things. I don't even know if there's anything other than pineapple that we really purchase from the store in a can. Obviously spices, a lot of them anyway, I don't grow myself. Things like bay leaves, like turmeric, cloves, cinnamon. Some of those things, cinnamon I probably couldn't, but some of those things I probably could. I do have ginger growing in pots in my house. And I just took ginger root from the grocery store, and my intent was to plant it at some point, and I just kind of kept pushing it off and procrastinating. And it started sprouting and growing in my basket in my pantry. And so I quick put it into soil, and it's the stems. So this is probably about 2 months ago. All of the stems are 6 inches or longer. So it is doing amazingly, and it's got lots of leaves. And I would love to try this with turmeric root as well. I just have not seen any turmeric root in any grocery store that I've been to. But so spices is one thing that we don't produce most of on our own. There's obviously basil, oregano, you know, some of those basic ones we do. And things like peanut butter. We do still buy peanut butter. I still buy oils. There's definitely some things I buy, most of my dry beans, things like that. But we rely on the grocery store like very, very little. And this is what I really, really encourage you. You know, even if you have a small space, you can grow a lot of food on a very small scale. Even if you're in the city, put in a bunch of raised beds. Honestly, I'm a little bit envious of people who do raised bed gardening because it's so beautiful, and you can make it so like aesthetically pleasing. My garden is beautiful. I've had lots of compliments on my garden, but we do row gardening, and so it's like, I don't know, this is an estimate. It's not anywhere. I have not measured, and I really want to measure how big our garden is. But it's roughly maybe 70 feet by 200-ish feet. I'm not sure, that's like a guess. And so I do rows because that's the scale that we garden on. And so I'm a little bit jealous and envious of people who can have these beautiful raised bed gardens with trellises and all these things. And my garden is, you know, not like that. And that's okay. But you can do it on a patio, like buy a green stalk. I don't have one, I don't need one. But I've heard great things about those. So that is kind of how it's going. And really we are just continuing on. The only things I'm really buying is things that we need. Things like dairy and coffee are very important. But we are planning on continuing on. And yeah, I would really encourage you, if you haven't tried, you know, some of the rules of the Three Rivers Challenge, although you are able to, you know, do and make the rules that you want. But I would really encourage you to do it, even if it's like, you know, in a month like April or something. You know, it doesn't matter when you do it. Just try it. And I want to say thank you guys for continuing to watch my videos. I really, really appreciate all of you. And I have a lot more planned. It's just right now, you know, on Homestead, there isn't a ton to film, although I will be sharing, whether it's on Instagram, probably more on Instagram than here, about our milk cow. Her name's Daisy, when she has her calf. So if you are not following me on Instagram, make sure to do so. My handle is @thisboymom_life. And you're going to find a lot more of my day-to-day happenings. And you'll also be notified there when I post new videos. So do make sure to subscribe, because that lets YouTube know that you want to watch my videos, and you'll be notified every time I post a new one. It's free, and I really encourage you to do that. It really does help me out and helps me to make content for you guys. So I probably will have more seed starting videos coming up, so you don't want to miss those. As well as this spring in May, we're going to be planting approximately 20 more, yes, 20 more fruit trees on our property. And so you won't want to miss that, trust me, along with planting our massive garden. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.